All right, everyone, we got a special guest with us today in this episode. We've got Steve Avery. What's up, Steve?
Special as in short bus special?
Don't you teach like fifth grade?
I teach kindergarten through fifth.
Oh, gotcha. Is it art, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I teach art. I was a fine artist and then decided to go into teaching. And this is my 21st year teaching.
Wow.
Dang.
I know.
I'm 34. Yeah, I'm 34. So you've been teaching 2/3 of my life. Well, roughly.
It feels like I've been teaching like 5 times your life.
Fair enough.
But I'm on summer break now, baby. Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't heard of Steve, he co-designed, or how do you say that? Were you?
Yeah, I co-designed Nothing Personal with Tom Vassell.
Cool.
And since then, I haven't had too much going on, although this summer I've got a new game coming out, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's called Ta-Da! Ta-Da!
Ta-da! I don't have a soundboard to do anything magical there, but we can insert it later.
So it's a party game, and you have like a stunt or a spell that you're trying to cast, and you're rolling the dice as quickly as possible. And every time you roll, you get to lock one of your dice and try to match the icons on your spell. But the rub is that every time you lock one of those dice, you have to do something silly. So every turn, there's some sort of rule where you might have to get up and sit down again, or you might have to yell, huzzah. That was Z's rule, actually. He said, you should yell huzzah after you roll up every time. And then at the end, you have to yell ta-da. And I guess in a 5-player game, the first 3 people to complete their spells score their spells, and then everybody else, of course, are losers. But and the spells there's 2 levels of difficulties. The harder spells also, in addition to scoring points, also make other people do additional silly things. So, like if I do a hard spell, I might have to have you jump up and sit down, and also hold your hand over your eye and yell "arg" every time you lock a die. Or maybe use just your pinkies or whatever. So it's a silly, silly game. It only lasts about 10 or 15 minutes, but it's a fun little party game.
How many players?
I think I've only tried it with 6, but I can't see why you couldn't use more people than that.
Yeah, because it's real time, right?
Yeah, it's real time, and it's loud and silly and kind of crazy.
This is where people need to buy 2 copies.
Yeah.
Get a whole room full of people. Would that work?
I think it would, actually. I'll have to give it a spin. When they have, I've only seen like the pre-production copy.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that has cups for 6 players, but I'll have to try more people. I haven't tried it yet. So I've got that. I've got another game coming out that is very near and dear to my heart. It's actually one of the first games I ever designed, and it's called Rubber Banditos. Have you guys played that yet?
I haven't played it, but everybody that I ran into was saying that I needed to play it.
It's a silly, crazy game. That's
your profile pic on Facebook, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I've been schlepping that game around to like cons for 5 years, so almost everybody knows me as that rubber band gun guy. So. You have little bandits that you set out into a desert, and the desert's got all this little cutout terrain that they hide behind, and they're trying to pick up gold that's hidden out in the desert. The problem is everybody's trying to gun them down. So every turn you send your guy out, there's a round where everybody gets to shoot, and then if your guy survives, you might be able to bring him back home with the gold. Cool Mini or Not has come up with a whole bunch of different scenarios, and they kind of changed my original format, and now it's very modular, and they've come up with a whole bunch of scenario ideas, and I helped them make a whole bunch of new terrain. So now we've got stage coaches and water towers and all sorts of stuff that can be added to these modular boards. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I love the game I made, but I also love some of the development they've done on the game. So I can't wait to see.
How does that work? Like that's a good question, because I've always heard like some people will design a game and they have it finished and they push it to a publisher or present it to a publisher or whatever. So in this case, it seems like they took your idea and I guess you have some creative rights to it or something. I mean, and you don't have to talk about anything you're not allowed to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, how did that work out?
In my experience, because even though I only have 3 games so far, with 2 games that have come out and a couple more in the pipeline, there's been many other games that didn't make it all the way to the finish line. And so in my experience, almost every publisher is going to want to change the game to fit their vision of what that game should be. Yeah. And so, as a designer, I think it's in your best interest to work as much as you can with that publisher to find that common ground, right? So I know there have been other issues where a publisher has taken a game and modified it so much that the designer didn't want to.
Like he wasn't happy about it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to name any names, but I know there's been several situations where there's been a real falling out between the publisher and the designer. And in the end, though, it's a business deal, and if the designer is truly unhappy with what design decisions that the publisher's made, their only real recourse is to say, "Look, take my name off the box." Right, because you've signed a contract. You're under legal obligation to have that publisher print that game.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. So, and that's actually happened a couple of times too, where a publisher has, pushed forward a game and then they made decisions that the designer wasn't happy with. And, the designer said, okay, well, I just don't credit me because I'm not happy with the direction of this game. But I think a better choice is to go ahead and work with a publisher and just try to make decisions that are in the best interest of both parties.
Well, it makes sense because they're not trying to do anything that's going to cause the game not to be good, right?
Right, exactly. But I'll give you another situation. I have a game with Action Phase Games that is slated to come out. The Kickstarter's come out in 2017, or at least it was. Action Phase just got bought out by IDW, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So they have to, now all their games are going to be under review. Again, my game might not make the cut now that they're under a new publisher, right? Or part of a larger publisher. But if they do, they've already indicated they want to completely change the theme of the game. So originally my original game was called Oni, where it's kind of a dice game where you fight invading mythical Japanese creatures, and they want to use
ghost or something.
Yeah, it's like demon. Yeah, it's like Japanese demon. Yeah, and that was the idea, is that you'd have these big Japanese demons you'd have to fend off, but each Japanese demon would bring along a big horde of creatures with it, and so you'd have to fight through the horde. It was kind of my nod to like wushu movies, the kind of wuxia kung fu fighting kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I had these kind of dice, these maneuvers that would chain off of each other as you place dice on them, right? So this would power that, which would let you do this other thing, that kind of thing. But anyways, now that they're with a new publisher, they've indicated to me that they want to go ahead and use their original IP, which is Heroes Wanted. And so now that they are with a new publisher, they want to go ahead and retheme the game to their original IP, which was Heroes Wanted, kind of superhero theme, which is cool. I'm all about that, but it might change some of the dynamics of the original skills that we had put together.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because originally it was all martial arts and, kung fu and bushido and all that kind of stuff. And now it's more like superpowers. So it might be like gazer beams and all that kind of stuff. Super strength.
Well, yeah, best luck with that though. For real.
Yeah, thanks. That's the weird thing, is that there's so many little hurdles and so many little twists and turns that things can take before a game actually gets published. I've learned the hard way not to count your eggs before they hatch.
Yeah. You want to make sure it's almost like in the running at the very end before you start getting really excited, I guess, or get excited when it's in your hands, maybe.
Yeah. In one way you want to promote the game, but then, suddenly it's like vaporware. It's not there. Right.
Well, other than games, what other hobbies do you have? Or what other things do you like to do? It doesn't necessarily have to be a hobby that you invest a lot of time in, things like that. But we want to get to know Steve Avery.
Well, I'm all about being sociable. So that's one of the reasons I love going to those cons is that it gives me a chance to see all my friends, and we go out to dinner and drinks and, spend afternoons talking and BSing. It's weird though, because I got really busy these last 2 months. Like I couldn't do any gaming whatsoever. And so I kind of stepped away from the hobby for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I realized, oh my gosh, almost everything, all my stuff is kind of hooked into gaming right now. Like social media, my free time, what I do with my free time, game design, playing games, talking about games. So I realized I was like, okay, you know what? I probably need to go back and become a little bit more well-rounded because when I had to put that on hold for a little bit because I was just too busy doing that stuff. I was like, wow, I've really kind of become really one-dimensional. I need to get into other stuff. But I do like gardening. I like hiking. I love mixing it up and hanging out with my friends. That's about it. Hanging with my family.
Nice.
You mentioned hanging out in bars and drinking. What's your drink of choice there?
Actually, I love rum.
He's a pirate.
Rum and Coke or something like that? Or
exactly.
Matt's got a favorite drink.
Long Island.
Oh, is that right? Long Island iced tea?
I think it's your best bang for a buck in a bar, usually.
Oh, that will definitely bang you up. For sure.
All right. I have Facebook stalked you a hair, so I hope you don't mind, but I did come across something that seemed fairly interesting called Prototype Con. Do you care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, that was, I guess, the same people that put on Dice Tower Con last year put on Prototype Con, and it was in February down at in Orlando, and they invited a bunch of people to come design games, playtest games. They pulled in a bunch of playtesters and made incentives to get them to playtest as many games as possible. They had a lot of like prototyping elements there, a bunch of like chits and boards and dice and all that kind of stuff.
Like they designed on the fly?
Well, most people brought existing designs, but they did have stuff for rapid prototyping there, or if you wanted to like modify stuff that you already had.
Oh, that's cool.
So at a lot of these prototype cons, people are trying to sell their games, right? So they're hoping publishers will show up to look at their games. So very few prototype cons that I've been to are really about play testing your games as much. I mean, people are there hoping to sell their games.
So there's a lot of pitching.
There is a lot of pitching. It's I think that they're hopeful. But it's also useful because when you start playing with a bunch of other game designers, they have a lot of insight on what might make a good game or where you might have overlooked a flaw. They can put it out, check out what your game's all about. So it was pretty low key. I'm definitely going back next year though. I thought it was really a valuable experience.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, we're going to ask you a unconventional question, Steve. Unconventional. Are you ready?
I'm all about unconventional. I'm all about it.
That's like pretty much the rest of this interview for the most part. Well, minus a few things. But all right. Speaking of prototyping, if you were forced to co-design a game with either Justin Bieber or Miley Cyrus, who would you pick and why?
Man, I'd go with Miley Cyrus because she's hotter than Justin Bieber.
Fair enough.
Well, she's a little crazy, so
a lot of fun ideas come out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think she's trying to clean her life up, though.
Yeah, I think I'd start with Twister.
Twister Extreme Edition. All right. Well, I like to, I don't know. We could always talk about games, but obviously we're heavily into music, having a band and things like that. So what kind of music genres do you listen to, and what's some of your favorite bands?
Some of my favorite bands are, I like alternative rock, like OK Go, Weezer.
Hold this string as a walk away. I screwed up the lyrics, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then I like 80s also, just because that's my because I like 80s because that's the music I grew up to also.
Fair enough.
Favorite Weezer album?
Oh man, I'm so bad with names. I really am.
Most of them were Colors.
Yeah, I don't even know the names of their albums. Honestly, I stream it on Pandora almost all the time.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, so it's probably all mixed up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so there'll be like some Matt and Kim on there. There'll be some Phoenix. Okay, let me see. Okay, Go. So every once in a while, Smashing Pumpkins will come on. You know, it's that kind of genre I like.
And then on the 80s, is it more the hair rock or the poppy?
Probably closer to the poppy. Like I like In Excess.
Oh yeah.
So
that's totally up Matt's alley.
Yeah.
We were just talking about our guilty pleasures, and the 80s was his.
Yeah, for a little while, 80s were making a big comeback. I think they've already passed though.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it wasn't that great.
It's a hard era to push.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, again, with my Facebook stalking, and I think you were at Prototype Con whenever this came up, but I noticed that you checked in at an interesting restaurant called Boma Flavors of Africa. Need a little elaboration. I mean, African food, what exactly is it? And what you try?
And was it good?
Yeah, was it good?
Oh my gosh. I was kind of scared. Okay. So here's the deal. I love Zev Schlesinger. And whenever I'm at a con, I always try to go out with
Z-Man
him.
Games, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or former Z-Man Games or whatever, I guess.
Yes, exactly. He's now, now he's working for WizKids, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, they're trying to build up their board game wing, their board game.
Yeah, the board game side of things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So, anyways, so I always go with him, and typically he picks barbecue, right? That's his favorite. But this time he said, no, let's go to Africa. Let's try this place. It's really good. I was like, I don't know, man, African food. First of all, it was at Disney, right? So we go inside, and it's in the bottom of the big animal lodge there, humongous, wooden cabin, right? So, and then the bottom there, they've got a big fountain down there, and this place has got one huge buffet line, right? So first it's meats, and then it's like all these vegetables, and then it's all these, like rice dishes and stuff, and then there's desserts at the end. And I was expecting some really crazy, bizarre foods, but in general, it was a lot of like roasted meat, and it was delicious. It was absolutely delicious.
Okay.
The spices are where it got a little weird. Some of the way they flavored the food and stuff, like a lot of saffron and some other spices that you don't usually taste in the food, but nothing was like really over the top crazy spicy. I guess that's because they're trying to feed masses, right? So
yeah,
and then the couple of dishes that were a little bit stranger, none of them were. I mean, they were all pretty tame. I will say they had this crazy fish soup with mussels, and it was like in a tomato broth, and it was to die for. And I'm not a big fish soup fan, but man, this soup was amazing. So, but yeah. I can't even think of any really weird food, like roast zebra or anything like that.
Yeah.
Anything like that. But, the food was definitely amazing. And at first I thought it was kind of expensive for what it was, I want to say maybe $40 a plate. But by the time we left, I was like, man, that was totally worth it.
Oh.
Because the meats alone were amazing.
That's pretty cool. And you said it's at Disney?
Yeah, it's at Disney. It's at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. So apparently the back of the lodge opens up to like Savannah, and they have like giraffes and stuff like that wandering around there. We went at night, so we didn't see any of that. But it was a cool experience. I totally want to go back. It was a very, very cool place.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. A lot of variety of food too. You didn't have to get anything really, really weird. There was plenty of food that you would recognize as being like, normal food.
Yeah. Huh. I'm usually pretty chill when it comes to eating out. Like, I know what that is. I'm going to go eat it.
Yeah.
Or if it's like, a different style of a food that I'm used to, but I don't know. I'll have to try it out though.
I'm a try everything once kind of person, and I love spicy food. There wasn't anything in there that I disliked. There were just some things I liked a lot better.
Yeah.
So it was all good.
Well, cool. What's the last movie that you saw in the theater?
Oh, it's got to be Captain America.
My man.
Yeah, we just saw that.
Is it Civil War?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
I have.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen it yet.
If you take, what is it, like 20 something movies now, the Marvel universe? I've probably seen 5. I'm terrible.
Oh, you are terrible.
What's even worse is I have about 80 something shrink wrapped Blu-ray and DVDs on my shelf. I need to
buy them just so you can put them on the shelf. I do that with board games sometimes. I buy games and they're still in the shrink wrap on the shelf.
I got a lot of board games that technically we haven't played, but I really like to bust them open and punch them out and sort them and do all that stuff because I'm a loner. Not really, but like I have that personality type where I need time alone. And so when I do that, it's usually editing videos or something or punching out board games. So that's why none of my board games are shrink wrapped.
See, if I play a game and I really like it, then I'll try to get it. Especially if I see like a good sale on it or something like that. But typically I don't end up playing my own board games. So I end up with a ton of these games in the closet. And right now I'm maxed out. I can't put anything else in the house. They're under the bed. They're in the closet. They're in the garage.
How many do you think you have?
I'm down to 300 games. At one point I had like 500. And that was just like stacks around the house.
Hoarders.
Stuffing them anywhere.
Yeah. But the thing is a lot of times there were games that I kind of liked and I got them on a great price. Right. So, or you got them at a flea market or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you were talking about going to Goodwill, right? And picking a bunch of games there.
Love it.
So, but we don't have any good thrift stores around here for board games, but I definitely buy them at like the cons and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm totally a hypocrite when it comes to Goodwill because I'm the first one to complain about their whole business model, but at the same time, I still shop there. I mean, I'm not going to do anything to stop them. So, I know you can speak with your wallet, but, like, not to go all out political or anything, but the whole Goodwill's idea is that they give jobs to people who are, who felons and things like that, or people who aren't very, maybe they don't speak English as their first language, things like that, where they're hard time finding jobs, but they let them get a job pretty easily. But like none of the money that you do other than, I think it was like 70% of their jobs are that. And, so they don't actually donate anything of the money to like, I guess, charities and things like that. And the second part is, which I totally forgot. I forgot what was, the pricing. Sometimes they price stuff that's ridiculous. And I'm like, how in the world? I mean, you're making straight profit off of this for the most part.
Right. Exactly. All right. 8-track player, $50.
Yeah. We saw it on eBay. It's like, dude, it's one buy it now and it's been up there for 6.5 years.
It's retro.
Yeah. Anyway, now I'm not trying to like attack Goodwill in this. That's not the whole point.
That's totally what you're doing.
I was going to say, that's what it sounded to
Goodwill.
me.
If you look back...
They're going to send out their Goodwill cops against you. They're like their security force.
The ironic thing about this whole conversation is that my highest tweeted post on Twitter is me taking a picture of my clock wall outside my game room. I have all these clocks, it's like 30 clocks. And I took a picture and said my Goodwill clock wall, and I tagged Goodwill, and like, it must have been like 50 or 60 different Goodwills, because I guess each region has their own Twitter. They all like retweeted it and stuff. So it had like, I don't know, like 16,000 impressions or something. And I'm sitting here like, oh, screw you, Goodwill, for giving me stuff. Well, anyway, moving on from that.
Yeah.
I'll dig my head out of the ground. What about favorite author? Or books in general? Do you read those? Because I don't.
Yeah, no, I do like to read books. I usually only read during the summertime because I'm like busy the rest of the school year. In the summertime, things kind of slow down a little bit. I like William King a lot. He did he did some Warhammer books, and he did like a Cormac series. Oh, yeah. He did Felix and Gotrek. Do you know that one? The suicidal dwarf?
No. He's like, it's a character?
Yeah, the dwarf is seeking his own doom, right? So he basically throws himself into combat willy-nilly. He's got a big mohawk. Anyways, he did one of the very first Felix and Gotrek books, and then other authors picked it up from there. But I like his writing style a lot. There's a bunch of other authors. Again, I'm really bad with names, so I actually have to like think about it before I try to find a book, because I
do you mostly read like sci-fi and fantasy and stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love losing myself in a movie, or losing myself in a book, or losing myself in a game. I love that whole suspended belief. You're just kind of part of the story. So that's what the kind of games I like to play are very. I love Ameritrash thematic games, because those are the kind of games that you can kind of really be a part of and make a story out of. Whereas, most Euro games is more about
the strategy and being
optimizing.
efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Optimizing your moves and stuff like that. It's a different type of mindset. So I like the fantasy and the escapism out of like books and movies.
That's cool.
Is there any games that maybe you didn't particularly care for, or it is something you did enjoy that just the artwork took it to another level for you?
Well, it's not really the artwork, but it's the miniatures on what is it? Silver Tower. Have you looked at them?
No, is it new?
Yeah. Well, I'm not
Warhammer
saying
Silver
it is.
Tower. It's
oh yeah.
The miniatures on that were pretty amazing. And then there's another game. God, what is it? Oh, again, so bad with names. It is. Damn, I can't remember. It's kind of a surreal miniatures game, but have
you played it?
Monster. What is it?
Is it really?
I can't remember. It's kind of it's a big miniatures game with kind of surreal elements, and all the miniatures on it are like incredibly bizarre. They have like hands coming out in places where hands shouldn't be, and
that's not like the Cthulhu Wars thing, is it?
It's not Cthulhu Wars. It's
Kingdom Death Monster.
Yes, Kingdom Death. That's right, Kingdom Death. That one. It's not the art, but the miniatures.
They are fantastic
and incredibly freaky.
Yeah,
they have, like genitalia coming in places that shouldn't be, and hands coming out of orifices, and it's just crazy. So that game, that took it to another level, just seeing those pieces. And when you play the game and, someone plops that miniature down in the middle of the table and it's all freaky, you're just like, whoa.
Yeah. I follow some guy on Twitter who paints those, or he's recently painting them. He's amazing. He's doing a lot of freehand work on like their cloaks and stuff or whatever. I think they're the characters. But yeah, the minute I haven't played it, but the miniature's crazy good.
Okay, so you've got to play that game, because every once in a while a game will come by that is so innovative or bizarre or whatever that it just kind of throws you on your head, and that's one of those games.
Nice.
And the thing that makes that game so crazy is that it's got this surreal bent where almost anything can happen. And almost every session, something really, really bizarre will happen. And it's the kind of thing that you'll remember forever, right? So I'll just give you an example. Like we were playing, and you wake up in a featureless plane. The ground is made of stone faces, and you chip off one of the faces as your first weapon, and you have to fight this lion that comes up and attacks you. And the lion's got like human hands instead of feet and that kind of stuff. Anyways, you fight the lion, and if you succeed in killing the lion, then you skin the lion and you take a bunch of these body parts from it, like bones and sinew and fur. And then you use that you go into like a different part of the game, which is like a development game, like a Civ game where you're building your little village, right? And you're building your little tech tree.
Is this totally cooperative?
It's totally cooperative. So it's basically 3 mini games that are pieced together with weird storylines. There's a miniatures mini game where you fight the creatures. And that's pretty innovative the way they've done it. And then there's a Civ building game where you take the pieces that you fought from the creatures and you start trying to build your culture. And there's these little decision points along the way. And every time there's a decision point that comes up, it impacts the rest of your campaign. Like one of our first decision points.
This sounds awesome.
It is. It's awesome and it's bizarre, right? So like one of the decisions points we had to be was, do we want to bury the dead or do we want to eat the dead when we be like cannibals?
That's a heck of a decision.
You're struggling for resources all the time, right? So food's one of the resources. So that decision point impacts the rest of the game. Do you bury or do you harvest, basically, right? And then the third part of the game, the third mini part of the game is that you go on these little hunts. And before you can actually have the miniature combat, you go through a series of panels, and each panel might have some sort of encounter on it. And that's where the weird storylines come in.
Whenever I was looking on Facebook again, because I stalked you,
I should put a bunch of fictitious stuff on there.
Yeah.
I should put like some really bizarre stuff.
Well, this was bizarre, and this is why I'm asking. I saw you playing a card game, and typically you see mermaids, but I saw a merman. I was just curious on what that was.
A card game with a merman?
Yeah, a merman was one of the cards.
Okay, I think that might be my friend Robert Burke's OP Arena game. It's one of his prototypes games. He just signed it with Patrick Havert's publishing company, which I can't remember the name of it yet. But they're paired up with Cool Stuff Inc.
Huh.
And so OP Arena, every character has these crazy powers. And part of the game is that you're attacking each other, but another part of the game is you're trying to nerf each other's powers so that you can, score more points and stuff. So that was the merman. He's got a bunch of strange creatures on that game.
He almost needs to partner up with the guys that made Kingdom Death and make a crossover.
That would be awesome.
All right, we're going to do another unconventional one. You ready?
Yeah, lay it on me.
If you're stranded on a desert island, what 3 entertainment items would you like to have with you? I specifically say entertainment because obviously otherwise you'd pick things to survive with. But let's assume you had all that. Okay.
So 3 entertainment items. Probably a still would be the first one. And then probably internet porn would be the second one. Geez, that leaves... I think I'm good with 2, actually.
Sounds like a good time. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll go with a drawing pad as my last one.
All right.
Oh, do you draw? Oh
yeah, that's you talk about hobbies. I didn't even think about that early on. That's actually I don't really consider it a hobby because it's really just part of my life.
That's a good point.
Teacher. But yeah, I love to draw and paint, and I like throwing on the wheel and sculpting, all that kind of stuff. I don't really think of it like a hobby though.
It's more of your career.
Yeah.
I guess it is your career for the most part.
I mean, it is. I mean, but it's more just a part of who I am, right? So it's not really kind of like music. It's part of who you are, right? I mean, you wouldn't really call it a hobby.
That's true. Yeah, I kind of feel it's almost like a job at this point, anyway.
Yeah.
But speaking of careers, what would you do? If you weren't. Let's take away games, obviously, because that's always an easy answer. But like when you were growing up and things like that, what kind of career did you think you were going to go into, or what kind of career did you maybe have thought of at one point that wasn't related to art or gaming? Well,
so I've always taken the path of least resistance. And so that's kind of why I fell into art and why I fell into gaming. But one of the things I realized that I had a real aptitude for is socializing. So I think I would be really good at marketing or sales if I didn't do
like PR?
Yeah, marketing. So you have to be creative when you market stuff. You have to come up with a way to get people's attention, and I like being creative. But you also need to tune into kind of the social elements there.
Right.
Right. So either sales or marketing would be good choices for me. But it's a little late in life to start a second career.
Yeah, I always thought like I wanted to be an astronomer for the longest time, even though I was terrified about going into space. So that didn't pan out. I mean, not that you have to go into space to be an astronomer, but like I got astronomy magazines as I was a kid and had telescopes and things like that. And I was really into it. But the problem with the public school system is there was really no way, there was nothing there for that. So I didn't do anything to like get into it from a profession style, like learning. It was more like just a hobby of me reading these magazines,
Right. And you have to go through like a really strong science background and become astronomer.
Yeah.
And frankly, there's not too many people that do just straight astronomy.
Are they also like meteorologists and things like that?
Yeah, it's usually tied into engineering or meteorology or something like that. Right. Because you have to find a way to make money off of it.
Well, that's a good point.
And just going on along with my trying to stalk you. All
Matt's questions are stalkerish.
Yeah, I wish I had gone on and logged on and put some really interesting stuff.
Well, and when you do that, you need to come up with a Wikipedia for yourself, because I evidently came across baseball players and convicted murderers that got Netflix series made of themselves by putting your name in.
Yeah, so I used to live very close to where Steve Avery, the baseball player, lived. And I just started my teaching career while he was starting his baseball career. And those night games would go like 1 o'clock in the morning, and people would call me at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was waking up at 5 o'clock to go to school, right? You have to wake up super early if you're a teacher.
Right.
And so, I mean, for a while there, that was because his number's unlisted, right? But mine, of course, wasn't. So a bunch of people would be calling me all the time, and usually they'd be like trashed after a big party or something.
Good game, man. Good game.
That's exactly what would happen. It'd be like, "Hey man, you rock. You're the best. I love you, man." So, and then the same thing happened with the that Netflix series with Steve Avery in it.
Oh, really?
All of a sudden, my like Twitter followers jumped. Like I got this huge influx of people, and then I got people sending these messages like, "I believe you're innocent." And
this sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I get to piggyback off their fame apparently.
Well, that's awesome.
That's kind of like a hilarious. Some people do get famous by selling things like this. Because like you get set in the limelight sometimes, and then they're like, "Oh, well, he's doing this other thing." So it's pretty cool.
I didn't like turn away any of the Twitter followers. I just rolled with it.
Yeah, if only like a TV station would reach out to you for an interview or something.
I should start writing back. "I'll kill you. You're so dead.
You were wrong."
Yeah, you were wrong.
Come visit me in my mountain cabin.
Well, I guess we could probably end up wrapping this up, but I got a final question for you. What conventions can people expect to see you at? And if you want to plug in your social media stuff and, finish off with anything that you feel like people need to know.
Oh, okay. Well, I will definitely be at Origins, Dice Tower Con, Gen Con, CABS, which is the Ohio Game Day. That's in September.
Where's it at specifically?
It's in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and I don't have. Oh, I'm going to go Mega Moose Con. A friend of mine's doing that one. Which is a crazy name, but it should be a fun con. It's up there in North Carolina.
Mega Moose.
Mega Moose.
Moo. Oh wait,
that's right. Mark Kale. Big shout out to Mark Kale and Mega Moose Con.
Cool.
Yeah, that one's going to be the best out of all of them. I'm sure. Much better than Gen Con. Mega Moose.
What about you BGG again?
This year I'm on the fence about BGG. I love going, and it always falls a really hard time. Yeah. It's right there before. I usually go to Mace also, which is the weekend right before BGG Con. So 2 back-to-back cons right before Thanksgiving. It is rough. Yeah. So this year I didn't buy a ticket yet, but I still might go. I think I could wheedle my way in if I had to. But we'll see. And as far as social media goes, stuff you should know. Keep your fingers crossed that my games actually make it to the finish line.
Of course.
I got Pulp Adventures with 8th Summit, which is a big adventure game. And Oni, probably renamed to Heroes Wanted Dice something or other. I don't know what it's going to be called now. With Action Phase Games. And Tada will definitely come out, and so will Rubber Banditos. And Doppelganger with Robert Berg. So those are the things I got in the fire. Oh, and actually I'm co-designing a game with Everything Epic Games. They did Secrets of the Lost Tombs, and they've got a new game called Agents and Operatives, which is a kind of a spy game.
Yeah.
And so they want to do a cooperative version of that, and they've tasked me with making a cooperative version of that game. To go along with their big social deduction one. So that's what I got lined up. We'll see if any of that stuff actually pans out.
Yeah, good luck with that, man. What about your Twitter? You want to say that out?
So everything is Steve Avery. So it's Steve Avery or Stephen Avery at Facebook or SteveAveryGames.com or Steve Avery on Twitter.
Do you want to spell that so they're not contacting convicted murderers and baseball players?
The murderer? I think it'd be fun if they accidentally contacted the murderer.
Right. Fair enough. Well, we'll see you at Origins and Gen Con. And
Dice Tower Con.
I will be at Dice Tower Con with Jeremy again.
What? Matt's not coming?
No, it's too much. Not money wise. It's too much to get away and stuff. Yeah, sorry. Maybe next year.
Jeremy will be on the show eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done a couple. Well, we've done one so far that has one of our gaming group, and then we've done another one that had a couple members of our band. So, but anyway, yeah, we appreciate you coming on the show, man.
No, thank you so much. I had a great time. I hope next time I'm totally going to be beefing up my Facebook so that when Matt stalks me, it'll be a lot more interesting. I see that you went skydiving with like lions. What was that all about?
That'd be awesome.
I'm sure we'll get more stories. Maybe at Origins we'll go drink some rum in Long Island's or something.
Yeah,
that's a plan. Absolutely.
We'll only be there on Saturday and Sunday though.
That's enough time to drink.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So why such a short trip though?
Well, I just had a baby in December.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so we're kind of testing the waters. Like it's getting to the point where my wife is not that bothered by being alone with him for a long period of time now. Cause we did another convention. It was like, it's just a new environment. Right. So, and we didn't really plan out Origins too well. And we were like, it's only a 4-hour drive. So it's not that bad. And we can go up there on like Saturday morning, stay and leave Sunday afternoon kind of thing.
I thought you were in Florida.
No, we're in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
If I was in Florida, I'd be over Tom's gaming all the time.
Yeah.
So, did you go to Lexicon
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
last year? My good friend Greg's friend Seth helped put that together.
Oh, yeah, we went this year, too. It just happened last month. April.
I want to go.
April.
I want to go to the next one.
Yeah, you should, man. They're also doing another one in Cincinnati, Ohio, which I think is happening. I don't think it's this year. I think it's for next year.
Ah, good to know. You know what? My friend Greg Franceth moved to Cincinnati, so I'll have to get in touch with him and find out
There's
what
the
deal
connection.
is.
That makes so much sense. Does he have glasses?
He does.
I met him. Yeah. I met him at the very end.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely an alpha gamer. He's one of those guys that knows and can teach almost anything.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right, so Lexicon. Well, I'll put it on the docket, right?
Yes. That'd be fun.
How far is that from home for you?
An hour, 45 minutes.
45
maybe.
minutes roughly.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's just hop on one expressway and just drive there. So I literally, if I didn't have to go through my neighborhood, I would probably turn 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because you just hop off the expressway, unless it's at a different place next time, but you hop off the expressway on the exit and then you turn left into the hotel.
That's how Mace is for me. I get on the expressway. 3 hours later, I turn off the expressway. I'm there.
Exactly. That's pretty much the same thing, but 45-minute drive. So, well, cool, man. Cool. See you at all these conventions. And again, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. If you haven't met me and you'd like to, just please don't be shy. Come on up and say hi.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm glad you said that because I didn't think of this. I was telling my people at work, they're really excited. I work at a small business. So there's only 7 of us. We do like consulting work for IT and stuff for smaller businesses. And I was telling them about this and they're genuinely interested in the things I do. And I was telling them that you are by far the nicest person I've ever met at a convention. Like you're
that is so nice of you to say that.
Yeah, because like,
Thanks,
you know
man.
what? I'm not going to name names, but some people like, just whoever, like not just random people, but like people of the industry I've met. And like people would come up and start talking to them and then they kind of ignore you for a few minutes and then they come back to you whenever that person leaves. And like you were like first to stop every conversation and introduce like me and Jeremy to everyone. And I thought that was like, that just meant a lot. That's really cool because you like to include people. Like you said, you seem like you're social outgoing and everything. And it really does show. So if you see
thanks.
Steve,
That's very kind of you to say.
Yeah, definitely hang out with you. Or that was bad grammar, but you know what I'm saying.
Him.
That's right.
That guy.
Yeah, I get even more sociable if you buy me a beer first. If you see Steve, buy him a beer.
Yeah. Oh, we're not going to be able to go to that same bar thing, that pool hall that we went to last time, right? Isn't Dice Tower Con at a different place?
Sad. That's right. It's moved.
That's where your friend was.
I love that place, man. I love that place as much as I love the convention.
We'll find a new place.
There's this little dive right across from there. Matt, you didn't get a chance to partake in this, but there was this little hole in the wall, and it was dark and smoky, and
we would play a show there.
Yeah, it was really crappy furniture, and I loved it. I loved that place so much. I just fit right in right there. I was like, "This is I'm home. This is where I need to be."
Yeah, it sounds like fun. I think from what I've heard, I think it's going to turn into who can be louder between me and you, but it'll be a fun contest.
Oh, when you're drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably. This is going to be awesome.
Accepted.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun time. Yeah, at Origins, it's happening. Or at Gen Con, because Matt will be there.
Why not both?
Or both. Both. Wait, are you pretty busy at Gen Con usually?
Rematch.
Yeah. How's your schedule look at Gen Con? You pretty busy?
I'm going to be demoing Tada a lot at Cool Mini or Not. And
but not at night.
Yeah, in the evenings, I am wide open.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, but most of the days, I'm going to be on the floor either demoing or just floating around. Because I also told the Everything Epic guys that I would like to have a working prototype by Gen Con, and so that if we can start showing it off beforehand, that's a good opportunity. So I'll probably bounce between those 2 booths at least to promote stuff.
Cool.
But in the evenings, I am out and about.
We're there.
All right. Looking
All right,
forward
man.
to it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.